Just trying to soak it all in. It's just amazing. Good morning, distinguished guests, members of the Board of Regents, Chair Gooden, Chancellor Perman, members of the Board of Trustees, fellow USM presidents and chancellors, and fellow presidents and chancellors, faculty, staff, students, and alumni of the great University of Maryland. Reverend Turner, family, friends, and colleagues, thank you for joining me today. As I reflect upon my own journey to the president of the flagship campus of the state of Maryland, I realize that I would not be here if it were not for the loving support of my family and many other people. My father, Claude Pines, who was born and raised in New Orleans, Louisiana, and was still extremely sharp at the age of 81 years of age, is watching this ceremony from his home in Silverdale, Washington, because he couldn't travel today. He used to say to his children, and I quote, "You can have all the book knowledge in the world, but without common sense, you will not advance far in the real world." These words of wisdom still hold true today and have always served me well in my decision-making as a leader. Dad, so grateful. Thank you for the wisdom that you have bestowed on me and my brother and my sister. I am also grateful to my identical twin brother and my sister Denise and my identical twin brother Derek, who are both here in the audience. Like most siblings, we share a unique bond that comes from shared values of hard work, perseverance, high expectations, and a strong belief in God. My competitive nature comes from my interactions with my brother. It's hard to even explain this to you all unless you have an identical twin brother. Our parents dressed us the same up until the 8th grade, every day of our bloody life. My brother would get a score of 97, and then I would show him 98. And this was the nature of our relationship, from academics to the arts to sports. Every day was a competition. This is where my competitive nature came from. Those formative years always brought out the best and at times, unfortunately, the worst in both of us. My sister Denise was the calming force, however, and was always the reflective, deep thinker, who would always drop these reflective questions to both of us and say, "Hey, have you thought about that?" We would ask her questions like, "Hey, Denise," she's always 1 year older, why is the sky blue?" And she wouldn't really know the answer at the instant, but then she would go find something and say, read this physics book. And this is how she's treated us our entire life. And even today, my sister constantly sends me emails about information either related to engineering or related to higher education. She chairs the California Medical Board. And Chancellor Perman, you think I was getting information from you on 117 variant? I was getting it from my sister because she chairs the medical board, and she was telling me, this is going to come. It's going to come to Maryland. It's going to come to the whole United States. Let me tell you, check it out. Tell everybody at the USM. So I got my reflective information from my lovely, dear sister, who I am deeply grateful to have. I am deeply grateful that God has blessed me with an incredible life partner in my wonderful wife, Sylvia, who is an accomplished former public health administrator and an entrepreneur of her own right. She has endured 28 years of listening to my crazy ideas and supporting my dreams, and many of which never panned out, by the way. But of course, we never remember those ideas. We only remember the ones that panned out. She has been a great advisor, a collaborator on so many important issues. Sylvia, I love you dearly. Thank you for all that you've done and your support of me. Sylvia and I are deeply proud of our two children, Kalela, who you just heard, who will complete her doctorate in physical therapy from Emory University in May, and Donovan, who everyone knows, but they don't know how smart Donovan is. He speaks fluent Mandarin, is completing the work towards his undergraduate degree, and is also a professional soccer player. I'm often called around the University of Maryland and outside the University of Maryland simply as Donovan's dad, not as the president of the University of Maryland, Donovan's dad. When I went to a wedding in Houston of my good friend who's here, Dr. Satcher and his wife Abina, I'm at their ceremony. I don't know anybody in this place but a few people, and this person walks up to me, "Hey, are you connected to the guy who plays soccer for DC United?" I said, "Where is this coming from?" And this is the nature of my life with my son. But I'm proud of my son and my daughter because they have adopted the Pines family values of hard work, perseverance, and a high expectation for education. I also want to acknowledge two extremely special individuals who have at times served as surrogate parents to me. And they are my wife's parents, Mr. Sylvester and Frances Maddie Haney. They have raised 4 children and are now blessed with 9 grandchildren and 1 great-grandchild. 6 of those 9 grandchildren have pursued education in higher education, in college. And the other 3, it's expected that they will also do that. These 2 individuals epitomize what it means to be a loving family, a loving Black family. And they took me under their wings as an adopted son. And for that, I love them dearly, and I thank them for their support of my career as well over the years in our family. Finally, I owe a great deal of my own success to my dear late mother, Maureen Foster Pines, who left this earth 23 years ago, too soon. My mother was the youngest of 14 children and was a great inspiration in my life and in my siblings' life. She married my father, a U.S. Air Force enlisted man, and immigrated to the United States from Liverpool, England. My mother only had a 10th grade education, but she believed in the value of hard work and that in America, education, above all other things, is the great equalizer. I will never forget my mother, who stood no more than 5 feet, actually probably about 4'10", going to the Berkeley Unified School District Board when we were in the 8th and 9th grade. And my mother, with a 10th grade education, fought for the opportunity for my brother and I to attend the best high school in our area, which was Berkeley High School at the time. My mother may have been very small in stature, but was a force to be reckoned with. She worked 2 blue-collar jobs so that she and my father could pay for my sister to attend Holy Name's a private Catholic high school in Oakland, California. There's not a day that goes by that I don't think about her and how proud she would be to witness this moment, to see what her children have accomplished based on her foundational values that she offered to us. The 3 little Black kids who grew up in a 2-bedroom home in East Oakland, California, are now a vice president of transportation at Parsons, a publicist, author, and serial entrepreneur, and yes, even a university president. I know that my mother is here with us in spirit today and serves as the foundation for all that we do. Thank you. Over the years, I've been very fortunate to receive advice and tutelage from so many incredible people. And I just want to mention a few of their names. They deserve to be mentioned at this ceremony. And my brother will remember this person. Mr. Ed Lee, Berkeley High School Mesa director, who taught us math after school. Dr. Antoinette Torres and Mr. Charles Tunstall, who ran the UC Berkeley Minority Engineering Program and made it possible for so many folks from underrepresented backgrounds like myself to attend UC Berkeley and make it through. And the incomparable Dr. Clayton Dan Moat. What can I say about Dr. Moat? I came to Dr. Moat as an 18-year-old freshman in mechanical engineering at UC Berkeley, and this man took me under his wing and taught me about what was possible. He made sure that I did my courses really well and I was academically sharp, but he exposed me to research. And I got to go into his lab, and I got to meet some of his graduate students. And I found out what research was really all about. This was as a sophomore at UC Berkeley. And these colleagues that I met in his lab are my fellow colleagues today, thanks to Dan Mote. And yes, he was the first person that he knew when he came to the University of Maryland. And it was really I'll tell you a funny story. We were in engineering, I was an assistant professor, no tenure. Dan Mote comes into a reception held for him. He comes all the way over to me, passes the dean, the chairs, and comes to the lowliest person on the planet, me, assistant professor in the back of the room, and says, "Hey, Darryll, what kind of school is this? What kind of college of engineering?" I said, "Dan, I want to get tenure. Can you please go talk to the dean and the chair? Don't come over talking to me." And he said, "Well, you're the only person I know at this university." I said, "Yeah, that's cool, but I want to get tenure." And so that was actually Dan's first trip over to engineering. And Dan, I'm sure you'll remember that. Also a very important person to me, Dr. Howard G. Adams, who was the GEM inaugural director. And if you don't know what GEM is, GEM was a fellowship program for underrepresented minorities to go to graduate school. And I got a fellowship from GEM to go to MIT and pursue my master's degree. Dr. Percy Pierre, who's in the audience today, is an incredible person. He was one of the initiators and co-founders of so many programs to help underrepresented minorities attend engineering throughout the United States. Dr. John B. Turner, Dean of the Graduate School at MIT, who literally called me, because we didn't have the internet back then, if my fellow colleagues from MIT will remember, and he said, "Hey, you haven't finished your application." I wouldn't even been at MIT if Dr. Turner didn't call me and said, "You got some references that are outstanding," and I finally got them in. Dr. Ike Colbert, Dean of the Graduate School, also at MIT, and Ms. Margot Tyler, who were literally like a family to all of us graduate students in the graduate school. Dr. Clarence Williams, who worked as a special assistant to the president at that time, Paul Gray of MIT, who became literally a friend, a colleague, and a mentor to all of us. My own doctoral advisor, Professor Andreas von Floto, and his wife, Lucia Alviano von Floto. Professor von Floto was the first person to get me to think out of the box, to think that you could do something really big in research. My fellow graduate students at MIT in Aero and Astro and Mechanical, Dr. John Langford, Dr. Siegfried Zerwick, Dr. David Voss, Dr. Matthew Mercadal, and Dr. Norman Worley. I held Dr. Norman Worley for the end because Dr. Worley is the reason why I'm at the University of Maryland. Dr. Worley called me up in 1995 and said, "There's a job available. Do you want it?" And I interviewed, and if that didn't happen, I wouldn't be president today. And to my fellow Black graduate students, they are here with me today, Dr. Vincent McNeil, Dr. James D. Oliver, Dr. Carol Epsey Wilson, Dr. Robert Satcher, Dr. Robert Dodd, Dr. Stephen, and his wife Jillian Isabel. The bonds that we forged are forever. And I'm deeply grateful for our relationship, for all this time, our friendship, our fellowship, and thank you for the support and advice that you've given me all of these years since those days at MIT. Of course, I could go on and on about so many people that have helped me get to this point in my career. All the people here at University of Maryland, there are too many names to mention, and I'm really grateful to all of them, but I would like to recognize the cabinet. They're all here today, the president's cabinet, all the vice presidents are here. And I also would like to recognize all of the deans. Thank you for your support. And I would like to also thank all of my friends from UC Berkeley who have made it possible for me to be here as the 34th president of the University of Maryland. So thank you so much. Thank you for bearing with me for those congratulatory remarks to my friends and my family. And so, my fellow Terrapins, I stand here today truly humbled by my selection by the Board of Regents to lead this great institution, grateful for the trust you and they have bestowed upon me, and mindful of the sacrifices borne by those who carried this torch before me. I want to take this opportunity to thank Presidents Slaughter, Kerwin, Mote, and Lowe for their service to this great institution and state. Presidents Kerwin and Mote are here this morning, and I want to thank you both for the generosity and cooperation that you have shown me and my administration throughout this uncertain time period. "33 leaders have served in this position before me. They have provided leadership during this rising tides of prosperity and through the dark times of uncertainty. Yet every so often, this oath is taken amidst a gathering clouds and raging storms. In these fraught moments, the university carried on not simply because of the skill or vision of its previous leaders, but because the people we serve have remained faithful to the land-grant mission of our flagship institution and to the ideals of our founders. So it has been, and so it must be with this generation of Terrapins. I must remind you that what the University of Maryland does matters, and how we do it matters. When we are at our best, we impact the lives of people and society. Our size, breadth, geography, history, standard of excellence position us to drive the future. We must serve the public good on behalf of all humanity. We must do good everywhere on this planet, because I know of no higher calling for a university and for us as human beings. The world is experiencing a time of remarkable disruption. We're in the midst of two pandemics. The COVID-19 and the long-standing racial injustice in our country. The recent trial following the senseless death of George Floyd is a stark reminder that our world is still plagued by the long festering wounds of racial injustice, highlighted by the Black Lives Matter movement. It is also a reminder of how inequality remains a pervasive threat to the lives and liberties of millions of people in this country and around the world. There are other grand challenges as well. Climate change continues to be the defining issue of our time. The Me Too movement highlighted the issues of sexual harassment and sexual abuse. These and other challenges are reorienting societal norms for the long term and reshaping our future. They are having an unprecedented effect on the health, well-being, and economic life of humankind, and these effects will be long-lasting. The world's interconnectivity, humanity's shared vulnerabilities, and social inequalities are evident now more than ever. It affects every aspect of life, from relationships and partnerships to markets and consumers to education and space. Consider that just recently, a giant cargo ship was stuck for 6 days in the Suez Canal. What did it reveal? How vulnerable and fragile our global supply chain is to the global economy. It was yet another stark reminder of just how connected we truly are. Hence, we must embrace globalization and envision how the university will maximize its value in education, research, service, talent, and expanding opportunities. We must prepare our students for this future because what was normal will no longer be the same. These are daunting times, and we face seemingly insurmountable challenges. But we are also presented with an opportunity, one we must seize. We must move this university forward within the new environment, recognizing that we too must continue to change and evolve. To emerge as an even more engaged, vibrant, and impactful university, to help forge a different and brighter future, the University of Maryland must play a transformative role in tackling the issues facing our global community and work to improve health and well-being of people in the state of Maryland and the world. There are several important questions for us to consider. Number one, what do we want the world to be? What do we want the world to be? Number two, how can we work together to create a future that is livable, sustainable, and more just and equitable? Number 3, how will scholarship, research, and education contribute in the 21st century society? And number 4, and how can we become more resilient to unforeseen events? Uncertain times require us to be bold. This is our time to reinvent our university. This is the time to examine the future of learning, to enhance the student experience, the future of work for faculty and staff to reach a new level of excellence, and a new model of research to accelerate and advance science and human understanding. This is the time to examine how we can relentlessly pursue innovative solutions to the grand challenges of our time: climate change, infectious diseases, social and economic inequality, health disparities, poverty, racism, sustainability, and social injustice, all the while being prepared for the unexpected. We will embark on our journey to reimagine our university together as we begin our strategic planning focused around inclusive excellence. This is a time to vigorously promote research and scholarship and to enhance the student experience and work environment and enhance the student and work environment in significant ways. Our strategic planning process will center on 6 pillars: academic excellence, student experience, access and student services, discovery, creativity, and innovation, external relations and partnerships, operations and resource stewardship. I look forward to engaging with the entire campus community to reimagine our campus and community as a modern flagship research university in the 3rd decade of the 21st century. Thus, in this spirit of reimagining and reinventing our university, today we take the next step to moving Maryland forward. Today, I am taking the liberty to announce 5 bold initiatives that reflect our mission, values, traditions, and culture, and reinforce my 2 priorities that I announced on my first day as president. Number 1, to be excellent in all that we do. And number 2, to create a more inclusive, multicultural community for all. First, it is fitting that today's Investiture ceremony is convened on the 51st annual Earth Day, and on the day that the Paris Agreement was opened for signature in 2016, 5 years ago. This day reminds us that our global fight against the climate crisis is far from over. Thus, we must continue our academic leadership in research, education, and service relative to the climate science, sustainability, and environmental stewardship of our natural resources. Today, I challenge our faculty to become leaders in developing solutions to one of the grand challenges of our time. We all must become climate ambassadors. And so today, I'm announcing that the University of Maryland will accelerate its climate action plan goal to become a net carbon neutral campus within the next 4 years on Earth Day in 2025. Through a combination of sustainability measures and the strategic purchase of carbon credits, the University of Maryland College Park will reach this goal by Earth Day in 2025. In addition, I am also proud to announce plans to replace our entire university-owned fleet of over 1,000 fossil-fueled vehicles with an all-electric fleet by 2035. It is my hope that these measures will help inspire every one of us to commit to the reduction of global greenhouse gas emissions for our planet and for our people. Thank you. From my very first day as president, I have stressed the interconnectedness of excellence and a diverse community. A diverse and equitable multicultural community will drive us to our goal of inclusive excellence in everything that we do. To me, it's a simple math equation, Chancellor Perman and Dr. Kerwin. Diversity plus excellence equals success and innovation. Diversity plus excellence equals success and innovation. It's that simple. With that goal in mind, we must continue to diversify our faculty. We want our student body to be taught by the highest quality faculty who reflect our values and advance our journey of inclusive excellence. Thus, today, I'm proud to announce an investment of $40 million into a new initiative to recruit and retain tenure and tenure-track faculty from underrepresented backgrounds to our campus. I have named the program the Family Initiative, which stands for Faculty Advancement at Maryland for Inclusive Learning and Excellence. If we are successful, the Family Initiative will attract over 100 tenure and tenure-track faculty to our institution and ensure that our students will interact and learn from scholars that not only look like them, but reflect our values and ensure our success for decades into the future. Thank you. In a few months, we will open a new facility at Cole Fieldhouse, a project that transformed a beloved basketball arena into a first-of-its-kind facility that will ultimately bring together research, science, athletics, and entrepreneurship, all under one roof. A signature part of this new facility is a football performance center. But this new addition will do more than enhance the performance of the next generation of student athletes. It will speak to our commitment to our history, social justice, and providing opportunity for all. Today, I am proud to announce that with the approval from the Board of Regents, we have been given permission to name the Football Performance Center in honor of two legendary and pioneering figures who officially broke the color barrier in the Atlantic Coast Conference in the sports of basketball and football. Mr. Billy Jones was the first African American to play basketball in the ACC, debuting as the University of Maryland in 1965, where he played in historic Cole Fieldhouse. And Mr. Darryll Hill was the first African American to play football in the ACC, starting with a truly historic season here at Maryland in 1963. The determination, courage, and strength of these two individuals helped pave the way for thousands of Black student athletes today, but they also helped break the chains of segregation and discrimination for every one of us. Jones Hill House will not only cement the legacy of these two trailblazers, but will serve as an inspiration to our entire university community. Honored guests, I am so thrilled to have Mr. Billy Jones and Mr. Darryll Hill here with us today. Please join me in celebrating these two amazing trailblazers. What an honor for me, and what an honor for them. Let's give them another round of applause, please. Jones Hill House will also feature a new area we are calling Game Changers Row. Here, we will recognize other pioneers and groundbreakers, including incredible women whose contributions to their sport and our community epitomizes the rich and storied history of diversity, equity, and inclusion in Maryland athletics. There is one more individual I must acknowledge. The entire Cole Fieldhouse project would not have even been possible without the support of donors from our university. Notably, this particular donor, his generous leadership gift from Kevin Plank, the founder and executive chairman of Under Armour. Mr. Plank's support of this project made this historic honorific naming possible. In fact, it was his idea. Mr. Plank called me up in February during Black History Month, and as you know, Mr. Plank is very impatient, has a lot of passion, and wanted it to be done in the month of February. But as Chancellor Pervin tells me, the Board of Regents has a process. And so we were not able to do it that quickly, but we were able to do it by the investiture ceremony. But more importantly, it was his idea to forego his own opportunity to put his own name on this facility, even though he was the lead donor. He wanted to do something special. He wanted to honor these two trailblazers. That kind of visionary leadership and selflessness demonstrates Mr. Plank's deep commitment, not just his alma mater, but to social justice as well. Mr. Plank is also here with us today, so please join me in thanking and recognizing him for his incredible gesture, Mr. Kevin Plank, a great Terp. We must protect this house. I had to say that. I'm sorry. I just had to say it. I just had to do it. It's not every day that you get to say that and get a feedback from Kevin. Thank you, Mr. Plank, for all that you do for the University of Maryland. The University of Maryland is one of the top research institutions in the world. To maintain our premier leadership in discovery, research, and in translating ideas from the benchtop or bedside to market, we must commit to a continual investment in a rich research ecosystem. So today, I am also announcing a plan to invest over $200 million to strengthen our research, expand activities in innovation and entrepreneurship, and boost our economic development ecosystem in the University of Maryland's Discovery District. This investment will be made to target fields such as K-12 education, public health, bioscience, neuroscience, climate science, data science, artificial intelligence and machine learning, computing and technology, and of course, quantum science. Just last month, IonQ announced its intention to go public as the first pure-play quantum computing company. This company was born here on our campus out of research conducted in the Joint Quantum Institute, and now IonQ has a headquartered office in our Discovery District in College Park in Prince George's County. Just last night, we launched a quantum startup foundry to help catalyze the next quantum breakthrough. It will bring together resources and support needed for startups to advance global innovations in quantum. Through the recently established Discovery Fund, the university has pledged an initial investment of $25 million over 10 years to support new businesses with technologies and recruit entrepreneurial faculty. This is to be combined with a $10 million capital investment in quantum facilities for a total commitment of $35 million for building the quantum startup ecosystem right here in College Park. It is our belief that this investment into our research enterprise will spark innovation, breakthroughs, and discoveries. We will use this moment to expand and enhance our Discovery District to a world-class environment to foster and nurture a culture of discovery, innovation, entrepreneurship that will be second to none, not just in our region, but in the nation. With this investment and the strategic investments made by the Governor, General Assembly, and past University of Maryland leaders into our research enterprise, we have the opportunity to build on our strengths and become yes, become the capital of quantum. Now, earlier this week, we hosted an event called The Art of Humanizing the Grand Challenges. This event, produced by the College of Arts and Humanities, reminded us that grand challenges like climate change, racism, citizenship, and voting rights affect real people in very personal ways. And the arts and humanities at Maryland offer people-centered solutions. We also hosted an event celebrating the life and legacy of Dr. David C. Driscoll, one of the great Black artists of our time. Amidst the global pandemic that we are experiencing, COVID-19 and racial injustice, our interconnectedness has emerged. But something else has emerged as well: a deep and powerful innate drive to create and consume art. In Italy, during the COVID lockdown, people took to their balconies to sing a traditional folk song. In a time of crisis, social isolation, distress, and death, people felt compelled to sing, to express rage and joy together through a creative act. Right here in the United States, murals and paintings of George Floyd emerged as an iconic symbol of Black Lives Matter protests across the country as a visual call to action, accountability, and racial injustice. Even in the most improbable times, the arts, it seems, must be accessible for all. So today, it is with great excitement and privilege that I announce the launch of the Art for All initiative. This initiative seeks to ensure that the arts are woven into every fabric of our life at the University of Maryland, so the Terrapin identity is writ large and forward strong. Arts for All will support innovation and partnerships to foster creative and scholarly excellence among campus arts practitioners and scholars, and engage all parts of the campus and local communities in collaborative creative practice. We will build on existing excellence by launching an expanded arts festival in partnership with the City of College Park, hiring new faculty to extend curricular research and programming that brings together art, technology, and social justice. This program represents a bold vision for the arts at the University of Maryland: innovative, fully inclusive, participatory, accessible, and impactful. In a time of great divide, I believe Arts for All can help us forge deeper connections with one another, to usher in a new era of mutual respect and understanding. And I think we can all agree that it's something that we all desperately need right now, is better understanding. Thank you. So it's in this moment in time, these 5 bold actions will help validate who we are, what we stand for, and where we are headed. We are a land-grant public research university that serves the public good for all of humanity. In order to fulfill our mission, we must ensure that our university remains open to all explorers who seek entry and are open to learning. Thus, we must continue to embrace what I call the 5 A's of student success: access, affordability, academic success and achievement, attainment, and finally, attitude and culture. To date, we have taken a number of policy measures to address these 5 A's, including joining the Common Application System, becoming test optional for the next 2 years, growing our level of need-based aid for all students, expanding our diversity and cultural competency curriculum, and improving the retention and graduation rates for all students. Finally, to improve our campus culture, we launched the Terrapin Strong onboarding program to educate faculty, staff, and students about our values, traditions, and culture. This program will help ensure that every student can reach their full potential. This is all critically important because I remind you, what the university does matters. What the university does matters, and how we do it matters. Remember, inclusive excellence is only possible when we have a truly inclusive multicultural campus, where different perspectives are embraced and shared freely. It is time to take risks and dream big. This reminds me of the quote from Robert Kennedy: "Only those who dare to fail greatly can ever achieve greatly." Terrapins, working together is the only way to move Maryland forward. When we work together, we are stronger. When we challenge ourselves to be our best, we make a difference. And when we take on risks, we fulfill our promise of greatness. We are Terrapins, and together we are Terrapin strong. Thank you so much. God bless all of you, and go Terps!